Hello there, and welcome to the Stay Off My Lawn podcast, where we'll have a little fun, lots of laughs, and discussions on the common sense that needs to be applied to a lot of today's world news issues. And now, the disclaimer. Stay Off My Lawn is not intended as legal, medical, or financial advice. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary to win. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 or over in the contiguous 48 states. Any resemblance to anyone living or deceased is purely coincidental. Actual price may vary. Only use as directed. Not a member of FDIC. And now, here are your hosts, Mike and Richard.
Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Stay Off My Lawn. It's October 3rd, 2023, and episode 37. October already. Are you out of the 100-degree mark over there yet?
Yeah, it went from in the 80s, which was pleasant, a little warm, but it was still pleasant, to all of a sudden on Sunday, at my place, the temperature varied 3 degrees. At 6:30 in the morning, it was 51 degrees. At 6 o'clock at night, it was 54 degrees for the high.
Jeez, you don't even have a fall, do you?
Well,
We have been.
Oh, it fell all right.
We do get, I really love the weather we have around here in Northwest Georgia. We're kind of in the mountains a little bit, and we're kind of in the foothills. But man, we just don't get the humidity that Atlanta gets, or south of Atlanta and all that. But man, I think the last 10 days, it's been nothing but partly cloudy or fully sun, and it's been in the upper 70s, lower 80s. And I just looked at the weather app yesterday, and for the next 10 days, we're going to be in that same category. So it's like we have had just a beautiful stretch of weather. So I love it. I love it. Grass has stopped growing. It's beautiful.
It's nice not having the heat, and it's been real pleasant. But all that rain we got in August, which was super abnormal.
Yeah.
Abby normal, I believe.
Bring me Abby normal.
If you remember Young Frankenstein,
yes,
I love that bit.
It's a great
Anyway, it just looked like spring around here. The weeds just went stupid, and it's called a kochia weed, and it kind of was brought in because it doesn't need virtually any water. Once it gets started, it will just keep growing, and it was to feed the cattle with, and the cows love it. When I would chop it down, I'd just toss it over the fence, and man, they'd snarf that up in a heartbeat. They just thought it was the best stuff ever. So anyhow, I've got stuff out there that it's probably almost, some of them are so big now, they're almost like a tree trunk. They're 3 inches across. So you're not just going to go out there and pull it up. It's like pulling a tree up. I got to go out and cut it down with a little mini chainsaw thing.
Well, they're going to be well fed. So, I mean, that's what you got to look at.
Well, I don't have cows this year.
Okay.
Not this year.
Before we go further, don't let me forget to tell you that we are on YouTube. We're uploading full episodes on YouTube, as well as our promos. It's at youtube.com/@stayoffmylawn. And if you want to give us a follow on Instagram, that'd be great. And that is instagram.com/stayoffmylawnpodcast. And tell your friends. I mean, even if you don't really like us all that much, pretend. It means a lot to us.
Tell your friends you don't like. That works for us too. We don't care.
These guys suck. Here, listen to this. I mean, it's okay with me. I don't care. Oh my gosh.
We just like ourselves way too much.
I mean, I'm pretty impressive. Speaking of very impressive, we always want to start off with Uncle Joe to start off things. And this is something where he was recalling something important, a meeting or something.
Meeting. I sat down. It was in January, after being elected. The late January, early February.
It was something like that. I don't know.
You didn't play the intro to it. I love our guy's intro.
I know. You're right. I forgot. This is our intro.
It's Uncle Joe's Wisdom of the Week.
Yeah, I should have played that. Sorry. I normally do.
Well, it's kind of like Uncle Joe. Might come out, might not. Who knows?
Well, according to the people in the media, these people who I'm insider, I know stuff. I know a lot of very important, powerful people, and I just know stuff. But according to them, RFK Jr. is going to make an announcement this week. And that announcement is supposedly that he's going to be running for president as an independent.
Yeah, that's the latest that I've heard too, is because the Democratic Party and Uncle Joe, I don't understand anybody who normally runs for president, they file and do all that, and then they get Secret Service detail. No, we're not giving it to
Not
him.
him. No, they hate
It's
him.
open season on
I
K
guess
Jr.
so.
It's like, what the hell? I don't understand. Boy, this is just like, when did we move over to a third world country where I don't get this? Like, I guess the Constitution doesn't mean squat and they get to do whatever they want.
It's
So,
very much like a dictatorship in South America or something. You're right. Because
yeah,
it's like, if
yeah.
you're going to run against me, buddy, I'm going to put a target on your back and have a nice day.
It's time for a coup, I think.
I think though, I think if all this goes through and he doesn't get shot and he doesn't get suicided by Hillary, I mean, I didn't mean to say that, but if he doesn't end up not running, there's still a lot of people in this country, probably millions, tens of millions maybe, who are still hurting because the government response to COVID, they destroyed a lot of small businesses, a lot of people's ability to earn a living. A lot of people can't work from home, so a lot of people were just kind of out of luck. At the same time, they gave Big Pharma record profits. We talked about that last week, and giving them immunity from any harm that those juice injections might have caused. RFK Jr. is the only person from either side of this whole spectrum that is actually speaking out about all this stuff. So
I'm guessing he's not getting a lot of campaign contributions from Pfizer, Moderna.
No. I don't think he'd take it anyway. I think he would be good. He'd just send the check back.
I just saw, since we're talking about that, before we started today, was the CDC put out a thing where, we may have or there was a fact check on the CDC. That's what it was. They may have exaggerated the number of deaths and stuff from COVID just a little, like 99% of what they said died from COVID did not.
Did they say 99%?
Yes,
Oh,
99% is the fact check.
Preliminarily, I saw that they actually did come out and say that it was about 40% more, I think, something like that. But wow, that's actually a big announcement. No wonder you don't see it on national media.
And more people died from the go juice, if you will, than died from COVID. And because as we see in all the commercials, may cause anal leakage, and it's like, what? Excuse me, what? It causes what?
Yeah, exactly.
They don't, and if you've noticed, in all of the COVID stuff, not a single thing does it say anything where it may cause blah blah blah.
Right,
nope,
right.
They don't have to do it because they
got immunity.
Free reign to wipe you out and depopulate the U.S.
I think that is kind of what bugs me about this whole thing, is that they just lie. And I mean, normally there's a lawsuit after a brand new drug comes out. I saw that special on Netflix about OxyContin, and it was Matthew Broderick. It was excellently done. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it was when they brought out OxyContin, it was really, and I think this is across the board, and I don't understand why anybody's surprised at this, is that it's all about profits. It's not about helping people, even though that's what they say. It's not about helping people. It's about making money. And I've got no problem with companies making money, but at the cost of people's health or even lives, I've got a big issue with that. So
it's it's a little addictive, the oxy. It's worse than morphine.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah,
that's really sad.
But the whole RFK thing, Junior thing, I mean, because people are still hurting over the whole COVID fiasco, that he could draw a lot of votes from the Republican Party to his independent ticket if he continues this tack, because there's a lot of people, and even right-thinking Democrats are probably going, this whole COVID thing was such an overreaction. It caused such damage, and it was just, and if you drill down deep enough, like you were saying, 99% of those numbers were fabricated. I just, because they even said back when all this was still going on, they said the average comorbidity of somebody dying with COVID is 4. So it's like you're either obese, high blood pressure, diabetes, you've got all these other issues. It's probably going to kill you anyway, one of them. And COVID just kind of pushed you over the edge a little bit. So anyway, I think that RFK is going to pull a lot of people away from both sides. And
yes, I think he's going to be our Ross Perot of the Democratic Party.
That's true. What year was that? That was 90.
Oh, way long time ago. I think it was in the 80s. I could be wrong, but.
No, you're right. When it was after Reagan, because it was 89.
Yes, it would have been when Clinton got in.
Oh, so that was 92. You're right, because Clinton won with less than half the population's vote.
Because it was so split. It went in kind of thirds, as it were. I don't remember who the Republican candidate was.
That was George Bush 41, George Herbert Walker, because he was running for re-election.
That's what it was.
Anyway, speaking of politics, did you watch any of that debate from last week? The numbers were way down.
I was in rehearsals, so as things are right now, I don't have a life other than occasionally doing a few spots as Brutus the dog.
You stage people. Gosh.
I know. And now, and with Ozzy and Harriet and having so dadburn many lines to learn in a short period of time, we only do 10 rehearsals. That's it. And then it's live, folks. It's only, the show's about 55 minutes long, but.
And you might have to wear a wig. We were talking off the air. He's going to have to wear a wig.
So thrilled about that. Let me tell you, I just couldn't be more excited. No, at any rate, I was in rehearsals. So
anyway, with the debate, there was a lot of gear switching. We watched most of it. I don't think I watched all of it, but it was like Doug Burgum, who was very laid back in the first round. I think he was also on pain medication because he ripped his Achilles tendon. Tim Scott was very laid back the first time around. Vivek was very aggressive the first time around. And, it's like everything switched. Doug Burgum and Tim Scott were both much more aggressive, talked over people, made it chaotic. It was awful. Vivek, however, he was he was a little bit laid back, and but his content was still unique and assertive. Here's a clip from Vivek.
So the first thing I want to say is I agree with everything. The Republicans on the stage are on the right side of this issue. Militarize the southern border, stop funding sanctuary cities, and end foreign aid to Mexico and Central America to end the incentives to come across. But I do go a step further. You're right about that, Ilya. I favor ending birthright citizenship for the kids of illegal immigrants in this country. Now, the left will howl about the Constitution and the 14th Amendment. The difference between me and them is I've actually read the 14th Amendment. What it says is that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the laws and jurisdiction thereof are citizens. So nobody believes that the kid of a Mexican diplomat in this country enjoys birthright citizenship. Not a judge or legal scholar in this country will disagree with me on that. Well, if the kid of a Mexican diplomat doesn't enjoy birthright citizenship, then neither does the kid of an illegal migrant who broke the law to come here. And as the father of 2 sons, it is hard for me to look them in the eye and say, you have to follow the law when our own government fails to follow its own laws. That's how we really go the distance and solve this problem and restore the rule of law in the United States of America, because that is part of what it even means to be an American.
The funny part about all that was a question by Ela Calderon from Univision. They brought her in to be one of the panelists. And I think the question was something about, what about dreamers? What are you going to do about dreamers or kids, or I think that's what you call them, dreamers, the kids that were born here. I mean, his answer is great, but
that's the problem I have with Vivek is all of his answers seem to be so perfect for what we're looking for, but then you dig back into, and he's had dealings with the left and stuff, and it's like, I realize people can change, but I'm not hearing him say, I used to do that, but I'm more over here now. He's just saying all the right things, and it just makes me look at him with, as the old saying goes, one eye cocked. It's
exactly.
Excuse me? Like a dog that just heard a high-pitched whistle. It's like, what?
But wasn't he in business with George Soros' son at one point or something?
Something he took a like scholarship money or some such thing along
Yeah.
those lines as well. And there's just he's been involved with some not real good people that are wanting to. What are we going to do? What we always do.
Take over the world. Oh my gosh. But you're right though. He's almost too scripted, too perfect.
Yeah. And he's really good at it. I mean, I'm not saying I agree with what he just said 100%.
Yeah.
That would stop a lot of it because that has gone on for years where someone who wants their children to be citizens just before they deliver will sneak across the border and have that baby in the U.S. And now that child has a U.S. birth certificate. But you know what? If you're not a citizen, no, they don't.
Yeah. You know, that has increased so much.
For that.
The last couple of years, that's increased so much. Pregnant women coming across the border. And so, I mean, and you know, and you want to have a heart, and I understand why the left feels the way they do, but it's like, well, you know, it's the kids. It's not their fault. And it's sort of like, you know, if you've got a family member and they've got kids, and it's like, it's not the kids' fault. Their parents are trash. So, I mean, I get it, but we still have to maintain our borders and still have to maintain the rule of law when it comes to immigration. You go to almost any other first world country, you go to England, you go to Australia, New Zealand, anybody, Japan, you got to have all your ducks in a row in order for you to immigrate to that country. And it's on the surface, you could see it as being almost racist against everybody else. But no, you lock the front door, not because you hate everybody outside. You lock the front door because you love everybody inside. And I think that we lose track of all that over this whole immigration thing. Anyway, we're up against a break, so let's do that. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Newsom. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
It's all about common sense and fun. We'll be right back.
They are our love bugs and companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life better. When we face unexpected challenges, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people and their pets. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn. We're just talking about teeth floating, which if you don't know what that is, and I think it's
when your bladder backs up and it's so much.
I think it's just
that's when you know you've got to go to that when your bladder is singing that old familiar tune. Please release me, let me go. I'm about to overflow. Anyway,
shake the dust off your prostate and let's go. You almost hear your prostate talking to you. Hey, you forgetting about me down here? I'm not as strong as I used to be. Anyway,
yes,
we all know Gavin Newsom. He's the governor of California. He's been sniffing around the whole White House for the last year or so. Ever since Joe kind of forgets where he's at, he's been, making appearances and stuff. He's almost like he's making his national political interest evident. He's even gone as far as challenging Ron DeSantis to a debate, which I think that happens November 30th.
Oh, I did. He was like, I'm not debating him. Well, let's see. I want to run for president. I probably ought to debate him now.
I think it turned out somebody was talking to him on a talk show, and he actually said, well, yeah, so bring it on. Bring it. You know how he is. He's just so full of himself. So look, pretty boy. DeSantis used to be a Navy SEAL. Don't get too cocky. Anyway, so he seems to be playing by the rule book and making it look like he's all on Team Biden, which I'm just not buying it.
Deep respect, reverence for Joe Biden as a person, his character, his decency, and his capacity to do great things. That's why I'm not worthy of that conversation. This guy deserves it. And we, as members of the party, deserve to have his back. more forcefully, and none of the nonsense. All this, these quiet conversations you've been in, we've all been in. Folks talking behind the back that become headlines. And we're all chasing that right now. We got to get on the team. We got to get this guy reelected, and we got to stop all the navel gazing and the hand wringing.
All the what? Navel gazing?
I had to throw the pukage in there at the end. But yeah, navel gazing. Yeah, I don't know whether he gazes
was the
at
other
his
thing at the
navel.
front that he said. I'm going, are you serious? Right at the
He deserves it. He deserves what he's got right now, and he
Why
deserves our respect.
have you noticed all Democrats who want to be on the team are all making excuses for why this poor man who should be in a home or have home care shouldn't be president? I'm sorry. I don't hate the man. I'm never cared for him much in politics, but this is almost elderly abuse. Look what they did to, as I saw the crypt keeper who passed away this last week.
You're such a mean guy.
I know, but I mean, she didn't know what she was doing. She was in Congress right up until she died.
Well,
I'm surprised she didn't die in her office.
She had power of attorney to her family to make decisions for her personally, but she took a vote. She was involved in a vote in the Senate the day before she died. So if you can't make decisions in your personal life, like I said, everybody gets old. God bless them. That's wonderful. But you get to a certain age where you can't control your mind or your faculties or whatever. I mean, just step aside. Let somebody younger take over. I mean, you can't be that drunk on power to continue. Or maybe she was just being and maybe they were a puppet of somebody else, and they have to keep going. A lot of them. Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell. I mean, all these
Pelosi.
Guys. Goodness gracious. Pelosi's
Pelosi
running
wasn't going to run again. Now she's going to run again. She can't give up that power. And what are you going to do when you're worth $200 some odd million because, gee, she's just been lucky at playing the stock market?
That's all.
Are you going to take it with you? Are they going to pile it in the coffin beside you? What are you going to do with it?
Never see a hearse with a roof rack. I think somebody told me that.
Yeah,
that's good.
But there's not a hearse with a U-Haul behind it.
Exactly. So I mean, how much money could you possibly spend if you look at that $200 million? To me, that would be a full-time job to be able to spend that kind of money on anything other than beer and women. I don't understand how in the world. Was that out loud? Anyway.
Yeah, I don't have the energy for the second part anymore. Maybe some of the beer, and I don't even get very heavy. If I have 3, whoa, look out. That's just too much for me.
Only one woman I'm attracted to anymore, and I can't drink any beers. It's all the same thing. But I think that's where we just kind of come down on, I don't believe Newsom is pro Biden. And you said it perfectly, is that, you never really was a fan of his. You look back at a lot of these clips from Biden from back when he was in his 30s and 40s and 50s. He was never a bright guy. He was always a very arrogant guy trying to tell people that his IQ was high and all this kind of stuff. It's like, first of all, if somebody's telling me their IQ is high, that gives you that little eyebrow like you have with Vivek. Yes, I can't do that. But
you mean the high dog whistle?
That's exactly right. The ear flopping
dog whistle. Yeah.
So I mean, I just don't. He's never been. I've never been a fan of his either. So I don't believe anybody on his team supposedly is coming out saying he's a wonderful person, because he's never been a wonderful person. No. So don't give me that crap. Anyway.
Well, and he's been a liar from whatever. I mean, he made national news, was on Johnny Carson back in the day about in the 80s something, when he was trying to run for president, saying all kinds of stuff back when there was actual journalism. What a shock.
Even Robin Williams, who was pretty much a big liberal, he criticized him quite a bit. So, and that was about losing his mind. That was 10 years ago. How long has Robin Williams been dead? He's been dead a long time. So anyway, it's an interesting thing to watch, but all we can do is watch, I guess.
Well, trying to do more than that. That people go, well, what are you doing about all this? Are you just sitting by and, well, it'll fix itself? That's kind of why we started the podcast. I don't know whether it's doing anything about it, but it is more discussions and letting people know what the heck is going on. A lot of folks just, they don't have time to research, and we're old and we're retired, and sometimes there's time to, oh, look, Martha, it says right here. And so we find things.
We're a little bit of news junkies anyway. We always, I always have been. When I could, I was always kind of like just chewing up information, and you know, that's what the whole idea is. Just like you said, I want to regurgitate some of this because people have busy lives. They don't have time. They can listen to this podcast on the way to work, on the way home, or whatever, and maybe hear something they didn't know. So,
yep. We tried to be educators,
and we don't have a dress code here because if we did, we'd both be fired. But
well, today, folks, if you look at our promo on Instagram, we're both in green today.
We have green.
Yes,
shirts.
we both got the memos we sent out. We just wanted to be twinsies.
Hi, Richard. What you wearing today?
Do you have Mrs. Busybody's class this morning?
I left a bow out of my hair. I was going to try to match you. But anyway, it's like, you know, it's like there's, you don't wear shorts and a t-shirt to a wedding or a funeral or anything like that. And the Senate has their own dress code also. It's like you got to wear the suit and everything. What do you do if you have a dress code at work, but some guy keeps showing up dressed like he's there to fix your HVAC unit on a Sunday afternoon, but he's only going to charge you $50 more. I mean, that's basically what was happening.
Or go for a jog after he has a morning meeting. It's I'm busy. I just came in from my jog. Can we get on with this? I need to get back to my jog.
My Carhartt hoodie when it's 95 degrees outside. Just don't judge me. Anyway, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer tried to get a dress code change for the Senate. It looked like it was going to go through, but nope.
Nope.
How did the Republicans drove that home, didn't they? Who was that?
Oh,
that was
it was Rand Paul. I saw a picture. It cracked me up. He came to work in a big red poncho robe type thing, no shoes, barefoot. I'm just going, what the hell?
But
I thought I'd go to work today. It's casual Friday. I went, whoa.
That is exactly what I would do, though. I've got a rack full of Hawaiian shirts. I love Hawaiian shirts. I don't wear them very often, but I love Hawaiian shirts. I'd be in a Hawaiian shorts, a cargo shorts, and sandals. That's what I would wear the next day after Chuck Schumer said that. So, I mean, you know, he took it a little bit further than I would have, but he drove the point home, and the resolution went away, went bye-bye.
It didn't happen. It like came to a sudden screeching halt. And yeah, I got to make a decision on what Feder who? Oh, that's me, Fetterman. Oh, yeah. And that's someone else that, you know, the man had a stroke. I understand that, but he can't make a complete sentence. Why is he in Congress?
I agree.
He's not fit to be there. I'm sorry that happened and that took place. If it was any other institution or any other in private business, they would probably, you're going to have to retire or take disability or whatever the case might be. But it's like,
well, if you believe the voting data from Pennsylvania, they voted more for him than they did for Dr. Oz. So, I mean,
yeah, they voted like 3:00 in the morning for him a lot.
You know, you know, when you're committed to something, you get up at 3:00 in the morning and you go vote. It's
sure. Anyway, speaking of good voters and American citizens, what the hell?
Jamal Bowman from Democrat from New York he's on video, pulled a fire alarm at the Capitol complex moments before the House was scheduled to vote on a stopgap measure to keep the government open 45 more days. Apparently, he thought it was going to open the door. I mean,
yeah. Oh, he tried to use the excuse. It was, or as Bill Engvall would say when his kids were, it was an accident. When his kid was small, it was an accident. Yeah, it was an ass who did the dent, and he's on video. It's like, and I noticed that excuse has stopped because you're right there. You walked over and went,
Well, they issued another statement. That was the initial statement. Well, I didn't know what it was. And then it's like the next statement came out and said, well, I was under high stress. And that's kind of what AOC came out and said. Whatever. The thing is that he used to be a high school principal. So
yeah, I think he knows what a fire alarm. You mean that little square bright red thing that has a handle that says pull in case of fire only? That little thing? How do you apparently he hasn't learned to read yet.
You're from New York and they have really bad education systems up there. It's all my wife's friends from her school can't spell worth a flip. So because I watch her Facebook page, it's like going, what? You almost have to go through like some kind of decipher to some kind of code. Anyway, according to the Washington Examiner, he could, in theory, be charged with 3 crimes for this whole stunt. Probably won't happen. But first of all, the lesser offense, false emergency report. It's a misdemeanor under the D.C. law and punishable by up to 6 months in prison and a $1,000 fine. The second thing is falsely pulling a fire alarm probably also constitutes illegal obstruction of congressional proceedings, and a felony, which is a felony under federal law. And thirdly, he could conceivably be tried as an obstruction of justice charge under D.C. law, which includes corruptly or by threats of force, or any way obstructs or impedes the endeavors to obstruct or impede the due administration of justice in any official proceeding. Of course, none of this will happen. Everybody's kind of blown it off, but it's
kind of like all the other stuff that's happening. And I said on a post sometime this week that Republicans, all right, you've been in there. I'm really getting tired of blah blah blah. Nothing happening.
Right.
Blah blah blah. Nothing happening. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I want you to do something about it. This guy's supposed to be expelled. There's going to be the rhinos that are going to go in with the Democrats. We can't expel him. It was an accident. No, it wasn't. You can't do that.
But that's exactly what it is. They're going to explain it all away. And like I said, and they actually looked back at the high school where he was a principal of and looked at what the punishment was for pulling a fire alarm.
Oh, yeah?
It was either suspension for like 2 weeks or expulsion. So, so he understood, being the principal, I would imagine he understood those rules.
He probably didn't read those either, just like the Constitution. He hasn't got a clue what's in that either.
Like I said, those New York schools, they don't teach a lot of stuff.
Are you helping with their excuses?
No, not me.
Well, pointed you to a major backpedal. What, me? No. Me
and AOC, we never text each other. I don't know what you mean. Oh my gosh. She makes a heck of a margarita though. So you gotta give her that. Anyway, we're up against.
I heard her highballs are real good.
Oh gosh. No, we're not going there.
It's a break.
We need to go to break. We're up against a break. So when we'll come back, we're going to talk about Matt Gaetz and Kevin McCarthy. Round 1, ding, ding, ding. Coming up this week. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
The Stay Off My Lawn radio show and podcast. We'll be right back.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas.
Congratulations on getting your diploma.
You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hi, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 3. Holy crap.
Oh, wait, nobody can see me. Okay.
He was waving, by the way, if you were wondering. It was like a happy dog. On a related story to politics, which is really all we talk about here, so it's not everything's related. It's sort of like Alabama. Matt Gaetz. I don't know where
Grandpa, Uncle Daddy, I swear it wasn't me.
I'm my own grandpa. Anyway, Matt Gaetz appeared on ABC News this week and it's a show called This Week. So, I mean, I should say it like that. Anyway, he talked about his disappointment in the caving on the spending bill by Kevin McCarthy. Here he is.
Joining us now is Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida, who has been Speaker Kevin McCarthy's chief antagonist in all of this. So I want to start right with what you've been saying all along, that you would move to oust him as Speaker, and what McCarthy said just yesterday. Take a listen.
That's all right if Republican and Democrats join together to do what is right. If somebody wants to make a motion against me, bring it. There has to be an adult in the room.
So are you going to do it? Or are you going to move to oust him?
Kevin McCarthy's going to get his wish. I don't think the adult in the room would allow America to sit atop a $33 trillion debt facing $2.2 trillion annual deficits. I don't think the adult in the room would allow $8 trillion of this debt to come into refinancing at a higher level without serious spending cuts. And I don't think the adult in the room would lie to House conservatives. And that is exactly what Kevin McCarthy did. In January, to get the speakership, Kevin had to agree to certain guardrails on spending, and he had to agree to a process that would allow us to put some downward pressure on spending. Since the mid-90s, this country has been governed by revolving continuing resolution and omnibus spending bill. And what that means is that America's lawmakers take one up or down vote on the funding of the entire government. That is crazy. That is the reason we're $33 trillion in debt. We want to move to single subject spending bills. So he made that commitment. He broke it. And if at this time next week, Kevin McCarthy is still Speaker of the House, it will be because the Democrats bailed him out, and he can be their Speaker, not mine.
I remember back when Reagan was president, he was talking about having line item vetoes just basically for the budget. And because there were so many weird crap, like he said, omnibus, it's all put in together and you have to either vote yay or nay. I think that's crap because they throw all kinds of pork in there, and it's been like that.
Oh, heavens, yes. When Pelosi was Speaker, they would, to get stuff snuck through, they would have, she was having a lot of these things toward the end of stuff, votes at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So that, you didn't have to be there. You could, go, and enough of the Democrats would show up because she had dirt on everybody, apparently.
Wow. They were up drinking anyway, probably. So what the heck?
Yeah. They were up granny's sauce. Anyway, yeah, that's got to stop. We can't. This is not sustainable, people. Yeah. You can't have. If we give any more money to Ukraine, we're borrowing it from the communists in China to give to the socialist party with the little mustache in Ukraine to fight the communists in Russia.
Who's in bed? What the hell? Who's in bed with China, who we're borrowing the money from to begin with? Yes.
It's a giant circle. You're right. I was getting to yes, they've had a handshake now, which is not a good thing to have happen either. It's what the hell is going? It's kind of like Mussolini and the little mustache.
Yes, folks. That little character.
They were in. Whoa! Stop! We can't keep borrowing this. Well, stop spending some. It's like we're not taxing enough. No, half of our paychecks are gone now.
Yeah.
Stop it. Just quit.
I think at one point the Republicans had said that this new bill was going to eliminate any new spending on Ukraine, but I think maybe that's that 45-day continuing resolution to
in the 45 days they're not getting any.
But he made a great point. $2.2 trillion in deficit spending. All that means is that in 1 year. That's your deficit in 1 year, $2.2 trillion. Now, the debt is something different. That accumulates over time. But the deficit, $2.2 trillion. I mean, what's our GDP? I don't even remember. I haven't looked at that in a long time.
It's something like half or a third. We're way short of taking care of that, hence the deficit. And they just keep spending like it's no big deal. We'll just borrow some more. Stop it. Just stop. I can't do that at home. You shouldn't be able to do it there. Our economy is so screwed up from this constant pork crap that they put in. Oh, yeah, we're going to have we're going to put in a bathroom in Pelosi's 1 square block park, and we're going to charge $250 million for this bathroom. It'll be awesome. Is it gold? No. It's beat up stainless steel.
But my brother-in-law owns the construction company that we're going to pay him by $400,000, and then the rest of it's going to get distributed amongst everybody. Yeah, well, that's that good old boy system. It's just got to go, and I think that's what. And unfortunately, when Trump ran for office, he was going to say he was going to drain the swamp. He was going to get rid of all that. Unfortunately, he did not. He made some strides towards it, but it was nowhere near what needs to be done.
No. And that's why they don't want him there. That's why they're pulling all this BS stuff that's like, what are you talking about? If you're going to charge him with some of the crimes that you're supposedly charging him for, you're going to have to charge your side, the same people, the same crime. How about let's go find the Clintons, shall we?
Yeah. I mean, they worked the system. They understood the system.
She doesn't watch this show, does she? I mean, it'll be all right.
Well, if you're not here next week and you were hung up in your barn, we know what happened.
It was an accident.
When you said that, it reminded me. I think it was Danny DeVito in the first Batman. This town needs an enema, and that's exactly. It needs an enema. We need to flush it all out and clean it all up, and I think that's I don't know. It's gotten so far gone, I don't even know if we can fix it. But this may help the budget a little bit. 2 Democrats have joined the House Republicans to pass a bipartisan Homeland Security. Yes. It's hard to believe that people actually can work together. Pass a bipartisan Homeland Security funding plan that cuts, now get this, Alejandro Mayorkas' salary to $1.
Oh, no. And that's not $1 a month. That's $1 a period for the entire 12 months.
Yes. I'm sure he's not happy about that, but it might wipe the smirk off his face, which I'm getting tired of seeing whenever he,
you and me both,
he gets in front of Congress. He's just one of those little arrogant guys that you just want to put in the locker, lock it up, and see him on Monday. And, anyway, some estimates say that over 7 million people have crossed the border illegally since Uncle Joe took office. And that's why they've reduced his salary down to $1.
And saying, everything's fine. No, everything's not fine. And who was really PO'd about, I forgot what Democrat it was, but Elon Musk was live streaming down at the border on X, formerly known as Twitter. Everybody is saying the same thing. Just put the name back. It's kind of like Prince, the symbol formerly known as. Yeah. It's getting real old. At any rate, he's down there live streaming. Oh, you can't be showing that. No, that's what's happening. Don't let the regular news media that is nothing but a damn propaganda machine, which I watch none of it anymore, not even the local. It's so sick on the locals, just as bad.
Yeah, us here, Atlanta news has always been like that, but I can't even imagine up where you're at. You would think there would be a little bit more in the center.
Nope, they're all owned by corporations somewhere else. And in fact, when you see that deal with the 36 stations all saying exactly the same thing, reading exactly the same script. The first one starting out with the number with Channel 2 CBS behind them. That's
Boise. Here. Yeah, that copy and pasted message. That's coming. That's coming. We're still seeing that. They just haven't been recording it all. And if COVID tries to make another comeback, we're going to get the same thing. If they're going to try to go to mail-in votes, we're going to get the same thing because they're all playing together.
It's you got to get that propaganda out there, and it's not news, it's propaganda. Nobody is a journalist anymore. There's so few that are tracking stuff down and trying to find the real answers. He's saying that, so I guess we need to say that too.
Yep.
And that's how they're doing stuff, and that sometimes they get caught with stuff that, wait a minute, that wasn't true. Well, where did he get it from? Well, I got it from him, who got it from him, who got it from him. And none of it's right.
The departments, it seemed like they used to be apolitical, like the CDC and even the DOJ and the FBI.
Nobody listens to them anymore at all.
No, but I mean, how in the world did that get so politicized? And it's only been, seemingly maybe it just brought it to the surface since the whole COVID fiasco happened. But it's like, man, they're all playing on one specific team. I'm blown away at how bad it is. And of course, every time somebody gets in front of Congress, they bring up Rochelle Walensky or whoever, nothing's going to happen. Yeah, they get called out on the lie, and then they go back home to their $5 million house, so it doesn't really seem to matter.
Just what I said earlier, it's a lot of blah, 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 blah. We're having meetings. They come up, oh, they lied. Yeah, we saw they lied. Let's have another meeting.
Yeah, and then what? Exactly. It makes for a great soundbite, and and I'm guilty of playing those sound bites because but I think you really need to see that these people are liars. But then again, these people who run the CDC or the FBI or the DOJ, completely out of our control. We don't vote for these people. These people are appointed, so it doesn't. Anyway, we're referencing Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution. It says, "The United States shall guarantee every state in this union a republican form of government, comma. It shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence." There's a lot to be concerned with the massive influx of people. People all over the world are coming here, and they're certainly not vetted. I think we were talking earlier. Was it on the promo? We talk about so much before we go on the air. We probably shouldn't, but it's like, you go to another country, you go to Australia or England or wherever. I mean, they're very, very stringent. If you can't contribute something to their economy that meets their standards, you cannot move there. Here, we just
it's like, I think I'll go live in Australia. No, it's not how it works.
Doesn't work that way.
So why do we have, and somebody goes, oh, well, no, there's no humanity, blah, blah, blah. No. Not how it works. How is that fair to the people who came over to this country and did it legally, waited 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years before they could finally, their paperwork crap that has to go through the bureaucracy till it finally goes through, till they can become American citizens, and they are so proud to stand there and take that test. I had a gentleman that came into the country that way that I was training on route work, and he was studying. He was studying so hard, and he was asking people the questions that he had to that you had to know to take the test to become a citizen. And he was asking me, and after about the 6th or 7th question, he goes, You're the only one that knows this. He goes, nobody else knows any of this. He goes, yeah, that's right. So it was helping him study by asking me, and he remembered what he read. And I was usually right in the ballpark most of the time. I don't know why. I just always liked American history. But there's so many people in our Congress. I won't mention any names, so I'll just use initials.
I think
AOC that don't know they're butting a hole in the ground. And it's like, give me a break. You are just babbling incessantly about nothing because you don't know what you're talking about.
She is a good talker. I'll give her that. She can sell ice cubes to an Eskimo. But the whole thing is, if you live in Texas, you're screwed the way all this is.
Bad.
Yes. And Congressman Wesley Hunt, who is from Texas, had some things to talk about this whole border crisis.
I view this as more of an issue of national security. I'm a West Point guy. I'm a military guy, and we have seen enough fentanyl pour into our borders to kill every single American 5 times. That's astounding to me. We've lost 150,000 Americans in the last 2 years since Joe Biden has been our president. That's astounding to me. Americans are dying every single day because we have a porous border and because China is supplying the cartels with fentanyl, and we've lost enough Americans that would account for 3 times the number of soldiers that we lost during the Vietnam War. I'm going to tell y'all, we're already at war with the cartels and with China, by the way. They know exactly what they're doing. Thank you. They know exactly what we're doing. And as somebody that's down in Texas that sees this every single day, my concern is watching the border czar and this current president do absolutely nothing about it while this drug indiscriminately kills Americans. We've seen 50 people on the terrorist watch list that we know of enter our country. Now, I was at West Point when 9/11 hit. I remember it well. I devoted my life to serve this country to stop that from happening again. Thank you. And here we are back at square one. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate the voices in this room right now and the people on this panel that understand that this is an issue of our sovereignty. It's the federal government's job to keep her citizens safe. And that's what I intend to do in the future here as a member of the United States Congress.
And that's what he quoted there, Article 4, Section 4 of that U.S. Constitution. They're falling down on their job. That's why Mayorkas just got a pay cut. So anyway.
Yeah, well, and it also states that if the America itself, the federal government doesn't come down and help with the invasion, that the state has the right to do so. So when they put up a bunch of razor wire along the river so people couldn't get up out of the river and go through it, and the Border Patrol people were given an edict to go and get rid of that, they were cutting it and removing it. The folks in Texas said no, and they put it right back the next day.
Yeah.
Put more of it back down again. It's like, no, we have the right to do this. Stick it in your ear. So it's really sad that, that 150,000 people die from fentanyl. If we'd had a war with 150,000 people dying in it, folks would be just
totally up in arms.
Extremely upset. Yep. Up in arms and upset about it. But now, it's just some drug stuff, whatever. No, that's 150,000, mostly kids, died.
And a lot of them, they got it and they didn't even know they had it. I mean, it was sort of like they got a joint that had fentanyl in it or powdered up. They put it in other drugs, and that's what's killing people.
Well, and they're making it look like Tic Tac candy with little
with
the shapes and stuff and the different colors. And that's
I know.
Anyway,
I know.
We're way over.
That's one of the big problems with the border, and of course there's other problems, but that's one of the big ones. That's people's lives being lost over this. Anyway, we're up against a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what they talked about in the G20. We're going to talk about what they talked about. That is. Probably shouldn't have said that. I don't know why that sounds wrong. Anyway, we come back. We'll do that. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
If you're in our demographic, it might be a good time to go and pee. We'll be right back in just a minute.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they going to know?
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
You try.
Welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn. Segment 4, like I said, sit down. It's going to be okay.
It's bad. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. I'm almost done with you. Or yay! Segment 4.
It's almost time to flush. So just, anyway, the G20 met in India recently, and they had stated that certain things that those countries agreed, they had stated that certain things that those countries agreed upon, there would be some priorities of those things going forward. First of all, they're going to, the international commitment to dramatically scale back the use of public and private lands. If that doesn't knock you on your heels,
you'll have nothing and you're like it. We will do this to you and you will be the one that we're going to.
I heard George Soros's voice say that. That's exactly where my head went to. And if you're not familiar with that, go to YouTube and find George Soros and just put up You Will Own Nothing and You'll Like It. And I know that you'll see at least 5 or 6 different clips of that happening from Davos when they talked about that.
Yes, and Klaus has repeated it.
Yes, he has. They also said that they're going to commit to halt and reverse biodiversity loss by 2030. And they go halt and reverse. Now, if you're not sure exactly what they mean by biodiversity, it means species going extinct. That kind of thing has been happening long before we became industrialized and made factories and stuff. I mean, species have gone extinct forever.
I don't know about you, but I don't think I want any raptors or T-Rexes that didn't go extinct.
No,
there wouldn't be as many of us around.
That would be kind of detrimental to my future, I think.
Yes, it would.
And of course, they want to develop a plan for international governance of AI. which here we have our own statement on AI.
The official position on AI here at the Stay Off My Lawn podcast is, well, we're against it.
Yes, we are. Thank
we
you, Julie. For
never
that.
would think of ever using it.
Oh gosh.
Oh Lordy, I'm sorry. I just love that. I think that's almost as much of a favorite to me as our Irish friend. Oh wow.
Yeah, so we're going to have different things from our AI friend going forward because that is such a good thing.
Type it and they will speak.
And they are expanding the international. They want to expand the international tax system, which I'll be honest, I can't figure out what that means exactly.
That means we want all your money and screw you.
But
because
international tax systems are within borders for as of right now. I mean, do we?
Yeah, that's they've got to try and subjugate because we think it's going to be a lot.
We're just not forward thinking enough. That's what it is. They want additional regulations for cryptocurrencies, which of course they want the central bank digital currency. They want that to come up, and that will be the kind of a cryptocurrency in and of itself.
Hasn't our Congress passed something that there cannot be a digital currency recognized as the United States currency is not allowed currently at this point?
I hope you're right. I honestly don't know.
Thought I saw something go through on that, but they're doing so much hinky stuff in Congress anymore. I don't know.
I hope you're right. I need to look that up because I have not noticed that. They also want to implement policies to make Social Security benefits portable between nations. So I guess if you want to live in South Sudan or something, you can get your Social Security benefits delivered to you there. I honestly don't know exactly what that looks like either.
Isn't it cross borders? Now, aren't we paying for all the retirement and stuff in Ukraine?
In Ukraine, we sure are. 57
with the money we borrowed
people
from China. That's had a handshake with Russia. That's invading. Never mind.
That's a big circle jerk. You're right. Gosh, I can't believe I said that out loud. Anyway, they want trillions, of course. I can't believe this wasn't first. Trillions in new climate-related spending. Which, because, and that came up recently, and I don't remember what country this was. There was a meeting of the countries was it South America? Well, anyway, they of course, the U.S. is committed to giving them, it was like $58 billion or some kind of ridiculous amount of money to convert to clean energy, clean, dirty, nasty green energy, which...
It is not clean in any way, shape, or form, folks. If you haven't looked up and realized that every single car that's made, it takes 500 tons of dirt that you are destroying a huge chunk of earth to get enough stuff for one car battery. It is not sustainable. You cannot make enough. And once that's made into a battery, it's not recyclable. You can't get it back to reuse it like you can a regular car now. They take and crush it all down, get rid of all the fluids out of it, melt it all back down into more steel, ta-da, make a new car. Can't do that. And they're having more of these electric cars causing fires. There are tenants and places that if you've got an indoor a parking garage for those who live in an apartment building, they're no longer, some of them are not allowing you to park your electric vehicle in their parking garage.
No, that's an insurance nightmare. But you got to think about also all the cobalt mines in Africa, all the lithium mines in South America and through Asia. They're all owned by China.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's, again, we are coming back. You boil it all down, it goes right back to China and their bottom line, even though their economy is kind of in the toilet right now. If they can hang in there a little bit longer, all these things are going to come to fruition. And especially if Russia ends up taking over Ukraine, which is really, I mean, I don't see how that's going to be a lot of our business. A lot of the Republicans are on stage this past week said that could be a disastrous for Russia to take over Ukraine. I'm just not seeing it that way. And maybe I'm not smart enough, but I'm just not seeing it that way. But anyway, I guess we'll have to wait and see, and maybe they'll explain further. But the last thing they discussed at that G20 meeting was they want additional collaboration and research for introduction and adoption of the central bank digital currencies, the CBDC. You hear anybody talk about the CBDC, run the other way.
Yep. It is not a good thing in any way, shape, or form. It's all gets back to, we're going to take all this stuff away from you and you're going to like it. No, not going to like it. Don't want it now. And they're still kind of pissed because they thought, well, we've got a puppet in the White House now. America's going to fall like a house of cards. We're infiltrating from the inside. It's a done deal. And they're going, why isn't it? What's going on? They're not happy. It's like, you told us, I was, which way do I go?
But I think that's exactly the point, though. You look at Biden, and it's sort of like hiring Eric Swalwell to protect your house. It's like this skinny-armed guy that. I mean, we're just gonna roll over him, and maybe he's not the greatest example of that. But I mean, you want somebody that exudes strength, or even at least fakes it better. Who knows whether Trump would have made a glass factory out of anywhere in reality, but when he threatened it, they believed him. I mean, when Reagan said those same kind of things, that whole peace through strength, and we've driven that home many times in this. We were talking. As far as the central bank digital currencies, we talked it was at least a month ago. It might have been 2 months ago. We talked about the social credit score in that city in China, where it's like if you don't adhere to certain things, you don't you take the bus, or you only watch a little bit of TV every day or whatever, it all goes towards your credit score, and you can buy coffee, or you can use it. There's like little chits that you can use for your own benefit. But I think that's where all this leads, is that's a digital currency thing. You'll get credited for being a good little boy and girl, or you get punished for not being such a good little boy and girl. And I think it's dystopian. It's awful. So
it's terrible.
Yes, that too.
You know what? This has been just a day full of. My tongue has got a bad taste. It's nasty today.
Okay. You got something for that?
I'm so glad you asked.
I'm here to ask.
Oh, my lovely bride. She is always providing me with stuff. Wow, that's amazing. It's a site that's on Facebook, or damn, that's interesting. It's one of those two. And this showed up on there. And I really kind of liked it. It's a gentleman talking about that. I'll just start reading it. He was asking an older friend how he's doing now that he's almost 80. So this is the gentleman's philosophy. And we kind of think that you should start this philosophy before you get to 80. Myself, I started it pretty close to when I retired at 62, when I don't need to do that stuff anymore. So anyhow, all right, starts out with this. Let's see how we can do on this. I asked a friend who had crossed 70 and is heading towards 80 what sort of changes he's feeling in himself. Well, he sent me the following. After loving my parents, my siblings, my spouse, my children, and my friends, I have now started loving myself. Number 2, I have realized that I'm not Atlas. The world does not rest on my shoulders. Number 3, I have stopped bargaining with vegetable and fruit vendors. A few pennies more is not going to break me, but it might help the poor fellow save for his daughter's school fees. Number 4, I leave my waitress a big tip. The extra money might bring a smile to her face. After all, she is toiling much harder for a living than I am. Number 5, I've stopped telling the elderly that they've already told that story many times. The story makes them walk down memory lane and relive their past. Number 6, I have learned not to correct people when I know they are wrong. The onus of making everyone perfect is not on me. Peace is more precious than perfection. Number 7, I give compliments freely and generously. Compliments are a mood enhancer not only for the recipient, but also for me. And a small tip for the recipient of a compliment, never turn it down. Just say thank you. Number 8, I have learned not to bother about a crease or a spot on my shirt. Personality speaks louder than appearances. Number 9, I walk away from people who don't value me. They might not know my worth, but I do. Number 10, I remain cool when someone plays dirty to outrun me in that rat race. I am not a rat, and neither am I in any race. Number 11, I am learning not to be embarrassed by my emotions. It's my emotions that makes me human. Number 12, I have learned that it's better to drop the ego than to break a relationship. My ego will keep me aloof, whereas with relationships, I will never be alone. Number 13, I have learned to live each day as if it's the last. After all, it might be the last. You just never know. And finally, number 14, I am doing what makes me happy. I am responsible for my happiness, and I owe it to myself. Happiness is a choice. You can be happy at any time you choose to be. So why do we have to wait to be 60, 70, or 80? or 80? Why can't we practice this at any stage or age?
I agree.
So,
I agree.
I thought this was a wonderful little philosophical piece, and so
I mean, having patience with people. I think that's a lot of it. It's hard for all of us. I fail on this a lot, but as every year I've gotten older, I think that's probably why they waited until they got a little bit older. Maybe the testosterone level dipped a little bit, and you're not as aggressive as you used to be. But yeah, I mean, you just got to be patient. And,
my middle daughter, speaking of which, she was going, "When did you get soft on stuff?" Oh, was it when your boobs came in? She said.
Oh my gosh! Wow, she's written out of the will.
That's what happens when you get older.
I'm writing her out of the will just on my will. Gosh.
Well, I thought it was wonderful and just a neat thing to share with folks.
Yeah,
so.
It's very, very good. I like that. We hope you were informed and had fun like we did. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. And we're starting to put up full episodes on YouTube. I want to let you know. It's at youtube.com/@StayOffMyLawn. And if you give us a follow on Instagram, we're over there too. Instagram.com/StayOffMyLawnPodcast.
Oh, and we always have our good old website, stayoffmylawn.us, for all of our past and present episodes.
We will see you next week, folks.
Thanks for joining us, people. Toodles. Well, we had fun and hope you did too. The opinions heard here today are not those of anyone other than Mike and Richard. If it made you laugh or go, or even, then we've done our job. Sort of. Mostly anyway. And if we made you think about things in a common sense manner, we welcome you to the club. And if it didn't, then just stay off my lawn. See you next time.